Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest tragedy in the pursuit of success is not failure. It is waiting for someone to hand you what you must claim for yourself. The man who waits for approval will die waiting. The woman who hesitates to move will forever chase what she was meant to own. You must act like it's yours. When you walk into the room, when you stand before an opportunity, when you envision your goals, do not approach as a stranger hoping to be chosen. Walk as though you already possess the outcome. Think as though the doors have already opened for you. Move as though success was signed in your name from the beginning of time. What you desire will not come to the one who begs, it comes to the one who claims. There is no power in wishing, there is no wealth in hesitation. Desire backed by faith and decisive action is the formula that has built empires. If you want it, act like it's yours. When obstacles rise, most people retreat. But the one who acts like it's already theirs persists. He fights with a certainty that the mountain will move. He refuses to surrender because he knows possession belongs first in the mind before it manifests in the hand. Act like it's yours when fear whispers that you are not ready. Act like it's yours when people doubt your ability. Act like it's yours when the results are not yet visible. The universe responds to the man who moves without asking, the woman who builds without waiting, the leader who believes without seeing. Greatness demands you to carry the weight of responsibility before the reward appears. You must become the person worthy of the success before the success arrives, and that happens when you walk, talk, work, and believe like it already belongs to you. There is no secret. There is only boldness. There is only the quiet decision to rise each day and conduct yourself like the owner, like the conqueror, like the rightful heir to the life you desire. Act like it's yours, and soon it will be. Ownership mentality is the cornerstone of every lasting success. It is the mental state that separates the dreamers from the doers. Many people move through life with hesitation, waiting for someone to give them permission to pursue what already belongs to them in spirit. They treat opportunities as if they are visitors in a house where they must ask to sit down, as if they need approval to reach for what they desire. But life does not reward the timid. Life does not hand out success to those who wait patiently at the back of the line. Life respects the man who steps forward as though he belongs at the front. It rewards the woman who takes hold of the steering wheel as though it was built for her hands. Acting like it's yours begins with the decision to adopt complete ownership over your goals, your mission, your purpose, and your life. When a person carries an ownership mentality, they no longer operate with the mindset of a renter or a temporary guest. They no longer approach their goals as though they are optional or as though someone else is ultimately in control. They begin to behave as if the success they are working toward is already under their name. They move with the confidence of someone who knows the prize is theirs, not because they are entitled to it without effort, but because they have claimed it in their heart, in their mind, and through their actions. Ownership mentality requires that you stop asking questions like, will this work for me? Or do I deserve this? And instead start saying, how can I make this work because it is already mine? It is a powerful shift in language and thought. It removes doubt from the conversation. It eliminates the habit of waiting to be selected. The person who thinks like an owner assumes responsibility for both the process and the outcome. If something goes wrong, they do not look around for someone else to blame. They tighten their grip on the wheel and steer harder. They do not retreat at the first sign of resistance, because owners do not abandon what is theirs. They persist, they rebuild, they correct, they improve. Because they understand one truth: what you do not fully own, you will eventually lose. To act like it's yours is to walk into each day as if you are not competing for something distant, but managing something that is already within your possession. Think of the man who starts a business and treats it as though it is his life's work. He pours into it with discipline and care. He protects it, invests in it, speaks of it with pride. Now contrast that with the man who half commits, who waits to see signs of success before taking full responsibility. The first man will endure storms and setbacks because he believes it is his to build, his to protect, his to grow. The second man will abandon the business at the first difficulty because he was only ever renting the dream. He never truly believed it was his. He never acted like it. Ownership mentality transforms your habits. When you think like an owner, you stop cutting corners. You stop giving half efforts. You no longer allow procrastination to rob you of progress. You wake up earlier, you plan better, you follow through because you have claimed responsibility. The difference between average results and extraordinary success often comes down to this invisible shift. The one who succeeds most is not always the most talented or the most gifted. It is often the person who simply decided, with complete conviction, that this was their mission to carry. That this was theirs, you see this in every field. The athlete who trains relentlessly is the one who acts like the championship already belongs to them. The artist who pours hours into their craft is the one who believes their work has value before the world ever notices. The leader who stands firm in difficult times does so because they believe the vision belongs to them, and it is their duty to see it through. This belief does not make the work easier, but it gives the work weight and meaning. It gives the person the strength to continue where others would stop. When you approach your goals with an ownership mentality, your energy changes. You no longer dabble. You no longer flirt with the idea of success. You marry it. You commit. You build as if your name is already on the door. You speak about your vision as though it is already your reality. This does not mean arrogance. It does not mean claiming success without putting in the work. It means you behave like the rightful owner of your dream long before the dream fully materializes. There is a deep psychological transformation that takes place when you assume this mindset. You begin to notice that you care more. You fight harder. You endure longer. You stop needing external motivation because ownership generates internal fuel. You develop a higher standard for yourself because you are no longer working to impress others. You are working to honor what is yours. You start taking your own words seriously. You hold yourself accountable not because someone else is watching, but because you are responsible for the outcome. The man who borrows his dreams never fights for them. The woman who waits for someone else to give her permission never fully steps into her power. Ownership is what separates those who wish from those who win. When you think like an owner, you no longer need to ask whether you are capable. You assume the burden of success because you know it is already assigned to you. You think, speak, and act as though the crown is yours to wear. When you act like it's yours, you cultivate resilience. Ownership requires you to stay in the game when others walk away. When failure knocks at the door, the owner does not pack up and leave. The owner rebuilds. The owner adjusts the strategy. The owner stands in the rubble if necessary and begins again. Because the ownership mentality says, "This is mine, I will not abandon it, I will not surrender it, I will see it through." Many people delay progress because they are waiting for certainty. They hesitate because they do not feel ready. But the truth is that readiness follows ownership. You become ready when you decide that it's yours. You grow into the person capable of handling the responsibility once you step forward and claim it. You do not wait for perfect conditions to act, you act, and you build the conditions as you move. Ownership precedes preparation. The ownership mentality also sharpens your focus. When you believe something is yours, you become far less distracted by what others are doing. You stop comparing your journey to someone else's pace. You keep your eyes on what you are building. You protect your energy because you understand that every decision now contributes to your vision. You stop asking whether it is possible and instead ask how you can make it work. You search for solutions because failure is not an option for the one who believes they already own the prize. Acting like it's yours requires courage. It demands that you move without guarantees. It calls you to make bold decisions without waiting for permission. It asks you to accept that there will be setbacks, but those setbacks will not change who you are and what you own. The ownership mentality does not guarantee ease, but it guarantees direction. It guarantees that you will not quit, you will not drift, you will not surrender your mission to chance, because you are not a visitor in your own life. You are the owner, and when you carry yourself like the owner, you begin to build a life that reflects that truth. The world does not give you what you wish for. It gives you what you claim. It gives you what you step forward and seize with unwavering belief. Too many people move through life like guests at a table where they were meant to sit as owners. They wait, they hesitate, they ask for permission to reach for what was always within their grasp. You must act like it's yours. Not someday, not when someone else tells you you're ready, not when the conditions are perfect, right now, today. You must move, speak, work, and think as though what you desire already belongs to you. The mind has great power. When you behave like something is yours, your mind will find a way to make it so. But when you tiptoe around your dreams, when you approach them like a stranger hoping to be accepted, you tell your mind that you do not belong there. You tell life that you are uncertain, and life will always mirror back to you what you believe. Success is not handed to the man who waits quietly in the corner. It is earned by the man who stands boldly at the center and moves with the energy of ownership. You must claim responsibility. You must remove the language of doubt from your mouth. You must discard the thoughts that suggest maybe you are not worthy. Act like it's yours when you begin, when you fail, when you rise again. Act like it's yours when the world questions you, when the results are invisible, when the odds are heavy against you. You will be tested. You will be told to wait. You will be tempted to shrink back into comfort. But the man who believes in the certainty of his mission does not wait for comfort. He does not surrender to resistance. He does not abandon the field when the storm arrives. When you act like it's yours, you speak with authority. You walk with purpose. You make decisions without fear because the outcome is already settled in your heart. The one who believes he owns the future does not beg for opportunity. He builds it. He does not hope for success, he expects it. He does not chase approval. He commands respect through his actions. You must understand that this mindset creates persistence. It builds endurance. It fuels you when the path is lonely, when the progress is slow, when no one claps for you. Ownership means you keep going not because someone is watching, but because it belongs to you. You will protect it, you will grow it, you will finish what you started. You cannot negotiate with your goals as if they are rentals. You cannot touch your vision with weak hands. You cannot step toward your calling with hesitant feet. The man who rents his ambition will always walk away when the rent is due. But the man who owns it will pay every price, will climb every mountain, will break through every wall because what is his cannot be taken from him. Act like it's yours and life will bend toward you. Act like it's yours and the obstacles will fall. Act like it's yours and the people who doubted you will one day tell stories about your determination. The difference between those who win and those who watch is often one simple thing. One stepped forward as though it already belonged to him. The doors you knock on will not open for the man who whispers. They open for the man who knocks like he already owns the house. The world respects the one who moves with conviction. It steps aside for the man who carries himself as though the victory is already stamped with his name. You must act like it's yours. You must walk into every opportunity, every challenge, every room with the quiet certainty that what you desire is already assigned to you. You do not wait for the contract to be signed. You do not wait for the applause. You move as though the prize was handed to you from the beginning. When you behave as though it's yours, you command your mind to find a way. The one who acts like a guest will always ask for instructions. The one who acts like an owner will build his own path. He will step over obstacles. He will create doors where there are none. It is not arrogance. It is the unshakable belief that you belong, that your goals are not distant hopes, but rightful possessions waiting for your courage to arrive. Most people lose not because they are unqualified, but because they hesitate, they shrink. They walk with their head down, unsure if they are worthy of what they want, and life will treat you exactly how you see yourself. If you see yourself as an outsider, you will remain outside. If you see yourself as the owner, life will begin to shape itself to fit your belief. When you act like it's yours, your work changes. You stop operating with casual hands. You stop giving average effort. You stop waiting for motivation to arrive. Owners move with urgency. Owners rise early, stay late, and pay the price because the mission is not optional. It is their responsibility. The man who waits for certainty will always be waiting. The man who acts like it's his moves before the path is clear. He does not ask if the time is right. He decides the time is now. His energy is different. His decisions are bolder. His spirit is rooted in a deep, invisible confidence that does not depend on external approval. You must act like it's yours when you are winning and when you are losing, when you are praised and when you are doubted. When you feel strong and when you feel broken, the act itself, the decision to behave like the outcome belongs to you, will carry you through every season. There will be people who will try to convince you to slow down. There will be voices that will tell you to wait your turn, but remember this: life will never hand you what you do not step forward to claim. You will not be chosen by sitting still. You will be chosen when you choose yourself. The man who thinks like an owner cannot be stopped. He may be delayed, he may stumble, he may fall, but he will not stop because what he is building already belongs to him in his mind. And the man who refuses to surrender what is his will always rise again. Act like it's yours, walk like it's yours, work like it's yours, and soon it will be. You must begin to understand a simple truth. Life does not give you what you deserve. It gives you what you demand. It gives you what you claim, what you pursue, what you act upon as though it already belongs to you. Too many people approach their dreams like visitors, waiting for an invitation to stay. They knock softly, they ask permission, they walk carefully as if they do not belong. You must act like it's yours. The man who acts like it's his carries himself with power long before the results arrive. He does not walk around asking for confirmation. He does not wait to see who agrees with his mission. He stands firm. He speaks with certainty. He moves with the full weight of ownership. When you act like it's yours, your thoughts change. You no longer speak about your goals as if they are far away. You no longer say, "I hope." You say, "I will." You no longer ask, "Can I?" You say, "How will I?" The words of a man who owns his future are words of decision, not hesitation. You cannot rent your dreams. You cannot borrow ambition. You cannot casually pursue greatness. You must take full possession of your mission. You must behave as though it is already under your name. You must move through every challenge with the mentality of an owner, not a guest. The man who rents his dream abandons it when the cost becomes high, but the man who owns it pays the price. He pays it with his discipline. He pays it with his persistence. He pays it with his time, his focus, his sacrifice. Because he understands that what is his is worth fighting for. When you act like it's yours, you stop waiting for opportunity. You start creating it. You stop asking if you are ready. You decide that readiness begins the moment you move. You stop sitting in the back row of life. You stand up. You step forward. You claim your place. The path will not always be smooth. The rewards will not come instantly. You will face resistance. You will face setbacks. But the man who acts like it's his does not retreat when the storms come. He rebuilds. He adjusts. He continues. Because what belongs to him cannot be taken by delay or by failure. Life responds to boldness. It does not open its treasures to those who knock lightly. It opens to the man who arrives with belief, who carries himself like the rightful owner, the man who knows in his heart that he is not here to wait, he is here to win. When you act like it's yours, you develop a different level of responsibility. You care for the mission with more urgency. You hold yourself to a higher standard. You no longer tolerate excuses. You no longer waste time in doubt. You get up, you move, you build. The man who carries himself like an owner will always stand taller. He will always last longer. He will always fight harder, because he has already claimed what others are still chasing. Life does not wait for those who hesitate. It does not pause for the man who stands still. It moves forward with or without you. And if you wish to keep pace with the men and women who build their dreams, you must step into life with the mindset of ownership. You must act like it's yours. You see, The greatest mistake most people make is waiting, waiting for signs, waiting for permission, waiting until they feel worthy. But the man who wins is the man who walks toward his goal as though the victory is already written in his name. He does not borrow confidence, he does not lease ambition, he owns it. From the beginning, he acts like it's his. When you act like it's yours, you no longer wait for perfect timing, you no longer ask if you are ready. You declare that you are ready because you have decided it belongs to you. This decision changes the way you move, it changes the way you speak, it changes the way you work, your movements become sharper. Your discipline becomes stronger. You no longer operate as a man testing the waters. You operate as a man who has already crossed the ocean in his mind. The difference between those who reach their goals and those who watch from the sidelines is not always skill, not always resources, but mindset. The man who behaves like the owner will always go further than the man who behaves like a visitor. The visitor is cautious, the owner is committed. When you act like it's yours, you stop entertaining distractions. You no longer chase what does not serve you. You focus your energy on what you are building, because what belongs to you requires your full attention. You cannot build a palace while glancing at other doors. You cannot chase your mission while chasing comfort. You must choose. Life will test you. It will ask, do you really want this? It will offer you reasons to quit. It will offer you exits. But the man who acts like it's his does not negotiate with failure. He does not retreat when the burden becomes heavy. He does not surrender when the road becomes steep. He stays, he fights, he rebuilds, because the mission is his. When you act like it's yours, you stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, how can I win? You stop seeking permission and start seeking solutions. You stop waiting to be invited and start taking your place at the table. You must understand, ladies and gentlemen, life mirrors your belief. If you walk like you own the future, life will begin to bend in your direction. If you move like a man who belongs, life will open doors that others cannot see. Not because you are lucky, not because you are favored, but because you acted as though the prize was already in your hand. The man who walks with ownership, speaks with conviction, works with precision, and endures with resilience. His path is not without struggle, but his steps are without hesitation.